Welcome to Media Maniacs. I'm Russell Currier.
I'm Jamie Hughes.
We review everything.
And we are just crazy enough to do it. Oh, yes. No, you helped me out on that one. You crazy person.
I'm that crazy, yeah.
How are you?
I'm that nuts, yeah. All right, on this episode of Media Maniacs, the first segment here, we're going to talk about our top 5 movies to watch around Halloween. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. Is that one of yours?
Well, yeah, I mean, I like it. It's cool. And I mean, come to find out, it's probably one of the busiest ones for, just buying things. I would have thought maybe Christmas or the holidays, but Halloween is gigantic.
Yes, very true.
What do you think? I have a trivia question only because my one son works in a certain business. What is the most popular food served on Halloween? And it's not candy.
Pumpkin pie.
It's pizza.
Really?
You know why?
Why?
People want to get the kids out. They get home. It's easy to get a pizza. Oh. And he works at a pizza place. I won't tell you, but he says that if you call in on that night or Super Bowl night, you'll get let go. And he's been there many years. He said the Halloween's got to be far busier than Super Bowl or any time of the year for a pizza.
Oh, really? Huh.
No, but nothing to do with movies.
Oh, yeah. But that's a little bit of information.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your number 5 on your top 5?
Okay, I don't know if I make a full 5 here. I think I'm going to go with 4, okay? I got 4. I was struggling with this one. I saw this movie just the other day on I think it was on one of the channels or whatever, and Ouija, about the Ouija board.
Oh, I haven't seen that one, but that one did look kind of interesting.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. I mean, it was like a lot of no-name actresses into things.
Well,
as it always is.
As a good horror movie, has a good no-name actors. Look at Nightmare on Elm Street. There were a bunch of no-names. Hell, that was when Johnny Depp was a no-name.
Right, exactly.
So
that could have been my 5 when you just said there. If that's in your list, if that's on your list, I won't put it on.
Oh, no, it's not on my list. It's one of my favorite movies, but not around Halloween.
Okay, so I'm going to go Nightmare on Elm Street just so I have 5 as 5, and I've already talked about 4.
All right, my number 5, the original Halloween, just because... nostalgia and all that. But even though I kind of go back and forth between the Halloween by, the original one from the 70s and the Rob Zombie version. I kind of go back and forth because there's still good amount of horror and jump scares and all that in each one.
Yeah.
But in the newer one, you kind of see more into the life of Michael Myers, and it kind of...
Right.
And I love how they start the show off with playing God of Thunder by Kiss right at the beginning. I was just like, this is it.
You're the rocker. You love that.
Yeah.
So. I know. Okay, so I guess we got to do your number 4 because then we can get to 3.
All right. Actually, no, I do have a 5.5. I got to talk about. We did top 5 movies, but there's one thing I watch every Halloween, and it's a TV show, Goosebumps. I have to watch.
Didn't they just make a movie of that coming out?
They're coming out with a movie with Jack Black, one of my favorite actors. And we were just talking about Nightmare on Elm Street. One thing just popped in my head. As I said before on previous episodes of Media Maniacs, Wes Craven was one of my favorite directors. He just passed away during our season break. I just want to say, rest in peace, Wes Craven. Okay, that was just a little blip. I just wanted to get out there.
Wes is probably looking down, going, "Thanks, sir. Thanks, thanks, you crazy guy."
Yeah.
So now you still got 4 to hit.
Yeah, I still got 4. So and then my number 4 actually is Scream. Another Wes Craven.
There you go.
So,
you are Wes Craven fan.
It has all the aspects of like Halloween kind of movie and everything, and also all the aspects of a horror movie, like things you have to learn to survive one, and also with, David Arquette and what's his name. Crap, I'm having a brain
What's
fart.
his name? He'll have it. It'll blip up here. Right. It's probably right there right now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But it's just great acting, great comedy, as well as who's the real killer and everything. And even Henry Winkler, I thought was a cool cameo in that movie too.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, what's your
number? My number 3 was your number 4. My number 3 is Halloween.
Okay.
And I got a little bit to talk about this one. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
I mean, unbelievable. That was like the original Scary. Now, maybe you're different on this. Maybe a lot of people are different, but I never am a fan of a continued series. Like they kept that I'm just like the first one was the best for me. Okay.
Yeah, I can concur with like Nightmare on Elm Street. First one was good. Couple sequels after it, not so much, except for like the 3rd and the 4th one. And 5th one kind of.
And the one I actually went and saw, and I was taken there by my son. He wanted to see it. was when, what was it, Jason beat up Freddy or something?
Oh, Freddy versus Jason. Oh, I love that movie.
I know you probably, oh God, that was awful.
That was a movie that they've been wanting to put out since the 80s, after Jason Goes to Hell.
I know, but it was just like, okay, you know why everybody, it's money. It's just money. They're raking in the dough. And I didn't want to go and I still went. There you go, I paid.
Okay.
I bought my popcorn and went and saw it, okay?
All right.
No,
okay.
You're number 3.
All right, my number 3 is actually not a scary movie. It's actually a Disney movie called Halloween Town that was made in like the early 90s, late 80s. And I watch it and it kind of brings up my spirits and everything every year and just gets me in the Halloween mood. And that actually has another series to it. There's like 4 movies on top of that, and I watch them every year.
Okay, well, what's the movie? This is not on my list, okay, but what's the movie where, what is it? It's those claymation characters or whatever.
The Rankin Bass type.
Yeah, what is that? James and the, that's not a Halloween.
It's not a Halloween movie, no, but.
Is there one like
you're
that?
thinking of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one I would have put on my list. I don't know. It's not one of my, I still watch it, but it's not like one of my favorite ones to watch on Halloween. Yeah. So what's your number 2?
Number 2, all-time favorite, Amityville Horror, the original.
Oh yes, with the woman from Superman.
James Brolin and was it? Oh God, what's her name? I'm blanking on her name too. Boy, we got to get our names right here.
Yeah, we need to do.
How about we'll stop thinking about it and then we'll think about it. Okay,
yeah. It'll probably could just pop right into my head.
Right, but yeah, the original Amityville Horror, and I know they remade it, and there's other remakes of it.
Yeah, and I can agree. I saw the remake. I didn't much care for it. It was okay, but I watched the original, and it got me kind of spooked.
When the film came out back then, there was there wasn't so much of a media. Like as it is now. I mean, I always go back. You remember our generation, gap. We have a little gap here. Yeah. Right, and the story is that this house existed, and it did, but it was like half truth, half not truth. It was being debunked. Did this really happen? There was
like a story about how the older brother took a shotgun to everyone and then was found in a bar later or something like that. That was like the true story, and he had no recollection of what he did. Yeah.
Was it Margot Kidder we were thinking about?
Yes, Margot Kidder.
Got it. I knew it. There we go. We got it in the segment. Boom. I feel good.
All right.
Crazy.
Accomplished.
All right. Now I'm to number 1. You're number 2.
No, yeah, my number 2 is Idle Hands. It's a Halloween horror comedy movie. Devon Sawa, who I don't think he's been doing much recently. Seth Green, Jessica Alba movie. Okay. It's kind of a stoner comedy kind of movie, but it just switches partway through. It kind of have more of the horror aspect. Okay. The revolves around a guy whose hands possessed by the devil. It's kind of funny though. Okay. So anyway, what's your number 1?
Okay, my number 1. We gotta get. This segment went kind of long. My number 1 is the original Exorcist, and I also like Exorcist 2, the prequel. And I am telling you, I'll tell you where I saw The Exorcist at my first time. Oxford Twin Cinema, downtown Oxford, and I definitely went at 11:30 at night. And I'm sitting there watching the thing, and I realized all I got to do, my parents' house was about a block away. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm still not safe. Even if I run home, I can still get possessed. That movie scared the daylights out of me.
Yeah, I remember watching that when I was
what's your number 1?
My number 1 is the movie Trick or Treat with Anna Paquin, Brian Cox, and a bunch of other people. It's like it's kind of like a pulp type fiction movie kind of thing, with how there's multiple different stories and you're not realizing that they're all connected and all this stuff. So it's like, and how it connects in a way. I watch it every year, so
it's like a tradition.
Yeah. So
those are our scary movies. So grab a box of popcorn and maybe gather the kids around and scare yourself.
Yeah, and maybe watch Little Charlie Brown too. Yeah. Anyway, our next segment we're going to be talking about our favorite book turned to movie. Join us then. Welcome back to Media Maniaxe. I'm Russell Currier.
I am Jamie Hughes.
We review everything.
We are just crazy enough to do it. You're supposed to let me do that by myself.
Okay.
Next segment. I got my line.
All right, fine.
My
fine.
lines. Right. Okay, what's up?
All right, I'm out of here. Anyway, one thing I just wanted to clarify real quick that we were talking about last time, we were talking about Fast Times at Ridgemont High and all that, and Nicolas Cage.
Or Nicolas Coppola at the time.
Yeah, and we found out actually, Jamie was saying that it was.
I thought it was the son of Francis Ford Coppola, and really I was wrong.
I thought there was no resemblance between them whatsoever. I found out it was Augusta Coppola was his father, but we found out Francis Ford Coppola is actually Nicolas Cage's uncle.
Right.
And so that was one thing we didn't. I wanted to clarify.
Now, what about the cousin that was a director? Remember her?
What was it, Stephanie?
Yeah, right. She directed a few things too.
Yeah, and she was also in a couple of the Godfather movies, I think.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
So yeah. So
we had to clarify that because we could not go on unless we clarified that information.
Yes. Okay. Now that we're done with that, we're going to talk about our favorite book adapted to a movie. And now, Jamie, what's yours?
Okay, I've got a few here. Gone with the Wind, the original.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, you got to like that air. I mean, Clark Gable. I mean, it was star-studded cast. I mean, for the time that it was made, it was a masterpiece. They actually did justice to it with the book and with what was on the screen. I mean, I'm not sure if you're a fan of older movies, but I mean,
I do like some older movies.
But you can really, yeah, you can get into it, and it was really good. I mean, Clark Gable at one of his the heights, and fabulous film. I mean, I'm
never
sure
watched it in its full. I've never.
You got to watch it if you like.
I saw part of it when I was in middle school,
right.
But I didn't.
Was it required? You had to, right?
A little bit, actually. I think that might have been some free time in our class. I think it might have been like a language arts class.
What was yours? I don't have a total 5 here either.
I didn't have a 5 for that. I was just thinking of a couple I could bring up. My one booked movie was Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp. I watched the movie, really liked the movie, but then I finally read the book and I realized some of the things that they did in the movie with special effects and stuff like that, what they said happened was, or not just special effects, but just things that happened in there, were just in Hunter Thompson's imagination.
Okay.
So he was just thinking in his head, what if this happened, what that happened, and then they show in the movie and showed that. So it was like, it was trippy, it was very crazy of a movie, and I just see barely any difference between book to movie, really.
Okay, what was the name of the movie again?
Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's a story. Have you haven't seen the movie? Or?
No, I have not.
Okay, Hunter S. Thompson was a sports writer for like Rolling Stones or some other.
I know the name, yeah.
Yeah, him and his attorney went to Las Vegas. He was on assignment to cover the Mint 400 bike race thing.
Okay.
But they end up breaking all the rules of Vegas and getting in all kinds of trouble with all types of drugs and everything. And
whoa.
It's a crazy movie.
I have to check it out.
It's one you have to watch a couple times just to understand what all happens and what all's going on and everything. So that's one of my top favorite book to movie comparisons. I don't read much, so
I've got a few in mind. You'll see has definitely the older view. This was actually a movie that was adapted to television. It was really kind of groundbreaking in television at the time because now we have like mini series. We have so many channel offerings.
Yes.
Back when this movie or show came out, we had like maybe 3 networks, 4 at best, and it was Alex Haley's book Roots. Okay.
Oh.
It launched LeVar Burton right off the screen. I mean, it was a TV series, and people were glued to that. I mean, you couldn't record this stuff. I mean, you had to watch it night of, and it was must-see TV. And I mean, it was a great book by Alex Haley. If pick up the book if you can, and see if you can get a copy of I'm sure you can get a copy on DVD somewhere. The series.
Yeah, most likely.
It was a pretty good series. Roots. It was good.
Yeah, you probably pick that up at like Best Buy or something like that.
Yeah. What else you
got? Watchmen. I've talked about this book movie comparison with Talon a while ago, and I still think it was one of the best book to movies I've ever seen. Like, because you take so many things out of a book when you put it into a movie. This one's kind of no different, but when you see the original cut of the movie, which was like 3 to 4 hours long.
Right.
They fit in so much that they had to take out of the theatrical release. And I have the collector's edition, and I read the book. I read the book in a week. I love the book that much, and then I watched the movie comparing back and forth. Right. It was pretty accurate.
Now let me ask you this, guy.
Even though it's not a book, it's a comic book. But
yeah, right. No, it's still the same thing. I would say, reading and compare it with the movies and stuff like that. I mean, I thought maybe I won't ruin this. I'll wait till the end and see if it's on your list. But The other one I saw, and I apologize, I don't know the author on the book, but it was a movie that was out a few years ago. Mine really has a southern turn. All the movies I have, but a movie that was adapted from a book was called The Help.
The Help.
And The Help was actually. I mean, I saw the movie before I read the book, and it was actually about the. I don't want to say maids, but help like all the southern households back in like the 60s and that time had, you know, black
women as
ladies
help.
that were the help, and how they kind of, you know, did a little bit of an uprising, and it was a time to transition in the 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a really good film to watch. I mean, and the book was also good to read as well.
I think my sister read the book, and we have the movie at home. It was one of my dad's favorites. He thought it was a really good movie too.
It was done well.
Yeah, I never sat down and watched full. You know, usually when my mom and my sister are watching something, I'll stop by through the living room, like, oh, okay, and I'll sit and watch for maybe a half hour to an hour, and then I'll leave and go into my room and just watch a movie or something like that. But what I've seen, like with Emma Watson, is it not Emma Watson, or am I thinking?
No, I think you're right. You're right.
No, Emma Watson that's Harry Potter. I'm thinking of another girl who's.
I know who.
Yeah, the main girl of the movie who is in.
Our next assignment on the show is we'll get the actors and actresses and we'll figure out who they are.
Yeah, we'll get their names and fact check.
I know what you're talking about. I'm blanking on her name too.
But she was in the movie Zombieland and all these other movies. She's a great actress. I could see her going really far when it comes to movies and stuff like that.
Exactly. Do you have another one?
Unfortunately, no, because I'm not much of a reader.
I got one more that is a must. It was done twice, and then I have one I'm going to ask you why you didn't have. Okay, this goes back. Now, my dad really enjoyed this film, and when I first saw it, my dad's like he likes the black and white movies. Okay. John Steinbeck's book of Mice and Men. Okay, now later on it was released with John Malkovich and Gary Sinise.
I did read the book in high school, now that I think back, and I did watch the movies.
And the thing about it was like, I liked the newer version of it. Now, where my dad, he obviously liked the older version, and I kind of just did a look up. I do have the actors on this one. It was Burgess Meredith in the original. He played. He was in it. We would know Burgess Meredith as Rocky's trainer, the old guy.
Rock, also known as Penguin from the 60s.
Right? Okay. And the guy that played the slower guy in the older version would have been Lon Chaney Jr.
Oh, really?
And he was Lon Chaney was obviously a horror actor, and this was his son. Okay.
Yeah, I know Lon Chaney Jr. I've seen a few classic black and white horror movies.
And Gary Sinise actually played. It was in the newer version, and John Malkovich played the slower guy.
Yeah, so, it's Lenny and what was the.
We keep looking up like the words are going to fall down. You should have words come flying down and hit you in the head. But it's no.
But I remember seeing the movie and I thought I didn't know that there was an older version of that. I saw there was the John Malkovich, Gary Sinise, but there was another one with Randy Quaid and Rob Blake or something like that, or something like that. I can't remember. It was made in like the mid 80s or so. And I didn't think of that one. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I mean, Mice and Men, what a great story. I mean, either whether you watch the older one, watch the newer one, or even just pick up John
Malkovich threw in the whole, did a different version of what Lenny was. Lenny's voice was supposed to be like, and I get to go tend the rabbits, kind of. And they made jokes about Looney Tunes, and his voice was so different from that.
Right.
And he put his own spin on it.
There's really, I mean, we just basically touched upon this, but there's like so many books that, I mean, you had Wuthering Heights, you had Little Women, you had all, I mean, there's so many. I mean, go to the library. I mean, go to the Oxford Library, go to the Orient Library, wherever you guys are at. Go to the library, maybe get a book and get the movie and see what you like about it. But I mean,
do your own comparison. Don't just listen to us.
Yeah. Anyways, I think this segment's gone.
Yeah.
I think we got to close out this segment.
Yeah, we got to close out this one, and next segment we're going to be talking about Back to the Future. Marty,
I came here in a time machine you invented.
Great Scott! Anyway, come back then.
Take off your hat, throw it in the corner. Take off your hat, throw it in the corner. Take off your hat, throw it in the corner. I don't see why you stay a little longer. I'm talking about Boozoo. Woo! Boozoo, that's who. Oh yeah! Come on down. Stay a little longer.
Welcome back to Media Maniacs. I'm Russell Courier.
I am Jamie Hughes.
And we review everything.
I'm just crazy enough, and you're just crazy enough to do it. See, I messed it up on the third line. Anyways,
we're all crazy enough to do it.
And with this, our show coming out this week, you had talked about Back to the Future.
Yeah, and I originally wanted to talk about this next week and have it record on the day that in the second movie they go to the year 2015.
Right.
But because of scheduling, we're having it air the week of.
Right.
Yeah. So, I just, with just the Back to the Future discussion and everything, is just such a big trilogy, and like 30 years later, it's still as big as it ever was.
Okay, now I got to mention this year right now, and I looked it up yesterday, and I guess it's good that we're doing it, you're watching it this week. If you're seeing this before Wednesday the 21st, you can catch it on the big screen. They're having it in I think it's in the Troy Theater, and I think it was Rochester, but go online. They're actually doing a showing in the middle of the afternoon of Back to the Future on the big screen.
Really?
I looked it up yesterday.
Nice.
But they're only doing it on the day that you wanted to film.
Wednesday the 21st.
So if it's after the 21st, we hope you had fun watching it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I didn't know that. I should have done a little bit more research on that.
I researched this show. You put me on here. I'm a researcher.
I just need to do a little bit more research. I did do a bit of research on Back to the Future, though.
Okay.
There's a lot of, time travel errors with continuity throughout the series.
Okay.
Like, minor spoilers here for the second movie. When Biff comes back to the year 2015 after giving the almanac, he goes back to the regular future. But if he gave the almanac to his younger self, shouldn't the future he goes back to be the Biff future with everything in his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be, shouldn't it?
Hello!
Think, McFly, think! Yeah. It's just I've watched a whole video of all this, and then and how they could have avoided all the antics in the third movie because Doc Brown's a scientist.
Okay, now I know you're really the detail-oriented person. Now, did you catch the part? You're a musician, so you should have got this in the first one. With the Chuck Berry reference, but it was okay.
Yeah, that was one thing I thought was really cool. Like, guy calls up, it's like, "Hey, Chuck, it's Marvin. Cousin Marvin Berry. Remember that new sound you've been looking for? Listen to this." And he's playing Johnny Be Good. And that's one of my favorite songs by Chuck Berry.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's what I love about the movie, the rock and roll aspect. Yeah, Huey Lewis and the News, also with the music that they throw in there, Power of Love and all that. It's just all these movies, there's just nothing really I don't like about them. I'll nitpick a little bit, like the continuity and time travel. But still, great movie, great casting.
And you got to remember, it was early '80s. I mean, all this, green screen and all this other stuff was not even in play. I mean,
well, it was a little, but not in its entirety as what it is now.
Right.
Like as you can see in the first Back to the Future, when the DeLorean goes back with the dog in it, you can see one of them has their leg in a flame right there, and they're not freaking out. It's because the green strips. I didn't
notice that.
I notice those little things like that sometimes when it comes
I mean, the actors too. I mean, what was it? Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. I mean, he was at the height of his television career when he played Jim in Taxi. He was in Taxi, making that movie, and then why am I forgetting now? Michael J. Fox, who was Alex Keaton on was it Family Ties, the TV show or something?
I think it might have been Family Ties. I don't remember.
I might have the TV.
I wasn't around at that time for those TV shows.
Well,
I know
he played he was almost like he played the character of Michael J. Fox as like a Ronald Reagan conservative.
Oh yeah,
and this was like such a step out for him. I mean, obviously it wasn't, it was a comedy and stuff.
From going from one role to another, being the rock and roll type kid who apparently gets in trouble with the principal and all that stuff.
Right, exactly.
But also you have Crispin Glover, who was the dad in the movie.
He kind of went left field after that. He was on the Letterman show, and there's like a YouTube video out there. You got to check that out. And he really was so busy at the time. I think he was like melting down after that. Not that it was not like the actor was melting. He was too much going on.
Okay.
But yeah, Crispin Glover, and then you said Leah Thompson.
I was going to say Leah Thompson. I didn't say the name yet.
Yeah.
And I just love the makeup that they did for the older version, the younger version throughout the movie, and Biff as well. And I can't remember his name right now. I remember.
Do you remember do you remember when like Leah Thompson was there, and they get Marty back into the house or something like that, and she keeps calling him Calvin. and he's like, "Why are you calling me Calvin?" It's because he had Calvin Klein jeans.
It was underwear he was wearing. And they didn't, back in the 50s, they didn't do stuff like that. They didn't have name brands like that. So yeah.
And then there was like one scene that I liked. They were all sitting around the dinner table, and I guess Marty's one uncle had gone to jail in the later.
Yeah.
And the kid was like behind bars in the
it's like he always likes to be in his playpen. We don't understand why.
And then the other part of the movie, which was really cool, is like they're sitting on watching, I don't even know what show, maybe I Love Lucy or whatever it was. And he goes, I know what happened in this episode. And the one kid looks over and he goes, this is the first time it aired.
That's like, I saw a rerun. What's a rerun? You'll find that out in a few years. But I know the show. I was just thinking back to that. And I was something like I Love Lucy. I don't think it was I Love Lucy because when was that aired? That didn't air.
I don't know what show. It was
something old that was recognizable. If you were to see it, if I saw it, I would have been like, oh, it's that show. Yeah. But I haven't seen the show in so long. I haven't seen the movie in so long. But another thing also about these movies, I've noticed like the little bits of how they, when you go back in time, you worry about changing things in the past and then coming back to the future. And one thing I never noticed for years is something big in the first movie that was kind of hidden. When Marty goes to the mall and hooks up with Doc, and then he goes back to 1955, he goes to Twin Pines Mall. And then when he goes in and goes back to 1955, he's on a farm, and he knocks down one of these pine trees, these two pine trees standing there, and he drives off and everything. He comes back to 1985, and it's Lone Pine Mall, not Twin Pine
I didn't notice that. Okay.
Yeah, that was one thing I was just like, really? It's kind of like how they did the whole, Clara Ravine or the unnamed ravine in the third movie, and changed it to Eastwood.
Yep.
So we're kind of throwing a little spoilers, but the movie's 30 years in the making. So if you haven't seen it,
if you have, obviously you probably have seen it, but you want to see it on the big screen again. Again, if you're watching this before the 21st on a Wednesday, you can go in the evening. 2 showings in this local area, and I think it's kind of cool they're doing that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cool things that they've been doing recently too with the whole franchise as well. Like the Pepsi bottles that they did in 2015 the show. There was like he goes into the cafe and everything. He asks for a Pepsi.
I'm going to say I don't know. Do tell.
They're in a weird shape, like a futuristic shaped bottle.
Okay.
And they, in the movie, Marty's trying to open up, doesn't know how to get it open. All that. They actually Pepsi made a few cases of the bottle and everything, and you like went online to like raffle or something like that, and like something along those lines of like you registered to win a case of this Pepsi in these bottles just because it's so reminiscent. And if I would have had the planning, I could have planned it out better. I almost wanted to start the third segment with my pockets inside out because that's how the fashion was in 2015. They were just like,
what do you mean? That's not in fashion to have your pocket. I still do that actually.
Oh really?
Yeah, I walk around with they're like your pockets are outside in.
I never do that, no.
I think it's time to go.
Oh, yeah. We got 1 minute left, and so if seriously, Robert Zemeckis put together 3 great movies, and there are continuity errors as well between each movie, like switching out the girlfriend throughout 1, 2, different actress and all that, but still, just everything about this movie franchise is incredible. Yep. And it's still going strong, and now people are just counting down the days till the 21st. For the day they go back to the future.
I think it'd be kind of cool if you had a DeLorean to drive and go see the movie and just be parked the DeLorean.
There's a few people like that who would go and
you see the DeLoreans on the cruises out there, and I still, that car to me just still thrills me.
Yeah.
I know we got to go. Hey, we're running late. We want to say thanks for checking in with us today.
Thanks for joining us.
My second episode, I'm having a blast. It's like not even, this is fun just talking stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's just, me and Talon, we didn't have as much back and forth really. We had stuff to talk about.
You know why? You and I talk too much. That's our problem.
That's it.
Close it out, friend.
All right. Thanks for joining us on Media Maniacs. I'm Russell Currier.
I'm Jamie Hughes.
We review everything, and we're
just crazy enough to do it. We'll see you next time.
All right.
You're watching OCTV, Oxford Community Television, serving Oxford, Addison Township, and the village of Leonard.